welcome. My name is Chrissy, and if you're new to my channel, I do prediction readings from my guides to you, and I just channel them through and let the messages get to you. So this video is going to be an updated global prediction for the month of December. Now, I'm just going to close my eyes and we'll just see what comes through. Far out. Fascism is on the rise. Now, people thus far have been quite diplomatic, and I feel like this is all around the globe. People have tolerated a lot. They were convinced that they had to sort of ride that wave and go with the status quo. But there's going to be a lot now on the rise about how do we navigate this? How are we going to move forward? And how are we going to see our future? And I think that's going to be the big question mark in the month of December is, what the hell is our future going to look like, and where are we headed in 2022? Because I think people do not want to go back to the last 2 years. They want to move forward, and they want to know, and they are wanting some facts on how we're going to push through and learn to live with these pandemics. Just being locked down and shut down is unacceptable, and that's starting to definitely be seen more on that really global scale now that people are wanting to get on with their lives. They don't want to be deprived of any more time out of their lives where they're not seeing people, they're restricted so much in what they can and can't do. It's just getting all too hard. So I really feel like in December, this is still going to be a really big issue. We are wanting facts, and we are wanting to know how we're going to get out of this pandemic. Trusting in socialism is a big mistake. I feel like I'm seeing like the knights are charging forward. So we've got this big battle going on, and it's like, but there's only one side. So it's like two sides are coming to war, but only one side's sort of marching forward. And it's not like a normal battle. This to me is showing visions of just too much strength. And these people on this side are almost invisible, and I'm pretty much sure that's meaning general society and general population. But there's this strength in numbers that is overriding, and it's almost showing me like energy. So it's like a big push. So it's pushing people back and pushing people back and pushing people back. And it's really bad for these people's frames of mind. So I really believe this is about agendas. This is about dictatorship. This is about wealth. And this is about not having transparency. If you had nothing to hide, you would be transparent. And I feel that's the big issues that are starting to sort of filter out now is that well, why aren't you being transparent with us? Like, what is the real agenda and what is really going on out there? I feel like that's a very big issue. And this is where the portals will actually start to open now. I feel like there's a lot of portals opening around the globe. It's like the portals were small, and now they're like really starting to open up, and people are starting to really see the truth. It's like people are actually peering through a window, and they're looking out now at the vast expanse of what is actually going on. I really believe that. It's showing me like looking out a portal window of a big ship, and you're looking out that little circle, you know, if you're on a cruise line or even something like that, and you're looking out at the ocean and there's nothing on the horizon but just more and more ocean. And I feel that's really what people are feeling out there. They're feeling like there's just more and more waves coming at them, and there's just this endless ocean, and it's like there's no land on the horizon, and that's kind of like, that's what's going to save them. If we could just get to dry land, we feel like we're all going to be stable again. So I feel that's what a lot of the energy out there around the globe is. I feel like people still are feeling very unstable in December, and that's that confusion of going forward, that like, what's our life going to be? What's it going to look like? Where are we headed? Is this our life for the next 4 to 5 years? People are very, very confused, and they don't want to be surrounded by angst and all these protests that are going on. That's not what people want. That makes people very uncomfortable and it makes people very unsettled. So they want a sort of, majority of people just want calm. So they want things to calm down now and have just their normal kind of happy lives, because happiness seems like it was something that was kind of sucked out of us like a couple of years ago, and we need it put back. That's definitely the message that I'm getting. We need some happiness in our lives. I feel like people are wanting to destroy the platforms. So it's almost like I'm seeing that breaking down in the platforms. So stuff that's been being put out is now going to start to crumble. And this is definitely around big tech. I feel like big tech is the giants are going to crumble. The messaging is that we've all been lost by all this consumerism, and I feel like that's kind of taking people over now. We're all, digitally savvy. We're ordering online. Life's got, it's very sped up, but it's also tunneled into one direction now. It's like we need to kind of go back to basics and open ourselves up more. And this crumbling is going to be intentional. It's a breaking down to the core foundations so that things can be rebuilt again. So it's almost to me like the digital world has kind of reached this point, and now it's time to, it's not so much a reset, it's more like a time to reinvent is probably the word I'm looking for. So it's a reinvention of the platforms and the digital way of using things. Like, things have been pretty straightforward, but I think and I feel like there's going to be a lot more division. So there's going to be this type of digital application for that type of person, then there's going to be this digital application because these people are more orientated towards this. So I feel like there's going to be like a lot of segregation when it comes to the digital platforms, because it's not really, if you think about it, it's not really a one size fits all when you think about YouTube and Google and all these kind of things, because everyone has different interests, everyone has different hobbies. Yes, we have like the headings and the titles, but I think as the world's expanding and the digital platforms having to expand with it, it's going to be really diversified now, and we're going to find that we're going to be drawn to different things that suit us more than other things. So that's why I feel like a lot of these platforms and digital things in our lives are going to start to crumble, but that's in order to be rebuilt. So I think a lot of people kind of go into panic mode, but that's not really what it's about. It's about enhancing our lives and honing in on our specific interests and our way of life, because this is about a way of life too. Obviously, we know that the digital sort of frequencies and things are changing. Like, I think we're already aware of the 5G, and there's a lot of network changes out there, and that's why, because everyone's going to be, I feel, sort of transformed in a way that we are starting to live at different energy rates. And I always talk about energy in a lot of my videos as a psychic. Energy really does exist, and we all exist in different levels. Some are living in 5D, some feel like they're in 3D, some are in 2D, and we all have different vibrations going on that we can see things differently. And that's true in life. We all see things differently from our own perspective. Currently, there's a lot of mistrust. I feel like there's a lot of mistrust around decision making, and I feel that's to do with a lot of politicians. I feel like there's been a lot of poor decision making that have really affected the masses, and it feels to me people will definitely not tolerate it. I feel like in December these things aren't going away. I feel like these things are actually building in momentum. So what started off once as a small little sort of protest, strike or march is starting to really build, and it's like the snowball effect. So the more that something gets moving, the more snow attaches to it and the bigger and bigger it gets. And that's what I really see happening here. You know, here in Australia, you've probably seen around the globe that we've had a lot of protest marches around the unvaccinated being discriminated against. And now we're actually marching side by side vaccinated people, because now they're introducing mandates. And things are getting even trickier because now they're marching for wages. There's all this kind of extra momentum that's kind of come on board. We've got buses on strike, we've got trains on strike here in Australia. I'm sure it's probably the same in wherever you're living as well. So strikes, and that's something I talk about in my 2022 prediction reading, strikes are becoming a really big thing at the moment because people want to be heard. And I say it over and over again, and in December, that is what is happening. People want to be heard and they want to be listened to. So I feel like a lot of this is around decision making, it to do with parliamentarians and the figures that are held in sort of high esteem, making all the decisions. People are wanting to have their say now. They don't want to be dismissed and pushed aside anymore. In December, I really feel a lot of people will be parting ways. Now, what I mean by parting ways is the split. Now, this is a split not only of people, there's going to be splits of families. I feel like so much has happened that sometimes it's very hard to go back. But I also feel like people are splitting from the chaos of the way that we've been living our sort of westernized lives. I feel like people are going to be heading more out to nature. A lot of people are growing their own fruit and veggies. A lot of people are starting to learn how to live off grid. They are going more down the solar road. And again, it comes back to that dictatorship. People don't want their lives to be dictated. They're wanting to find that freedom and that solace in their life. And I feel like in December, that's definitely something that's going to be a big issue, is this splitting of the energies. And like I just talked about before, we're all living in different frequencies. You know, someone might really love living in the city, for example, and they love that buzz and the vibe of the busyness and sounds and the, you know, just that general clutter. Some people really thrive in that energy. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with any level of energy. We all just choose different levels. Whereas someone else, for example, might need to live in the bush. They might love being out in nature. They might just want a very humble, simple existence where they're very independent food-wise and things like this. Everybody wants different things, and we all live in different vibrations. There's certainly a lot in between that as well. People like to live on the outskirts of big cities, and so they can still drive into the city, but then they can escape into their like mountain life. I live in the mountains, for example, and it's, you know, it can be quite peaceful here when it's snowing. It's very pretty. So everybody has different vibrations, you know, that help their mind. Some people, like I said, just really love that busyness and the chaos. And there's nothing wrong with living in these different energies. But I really believe that a lot of people, no matter where they're living, and that's why this snowball effect's going to happen, because they don't want to be dictated to. They still want their freedoms, even if they are living in a very structured society or a very free and easy society. They still want to make their own decisions. So I feel like December, that is the big message here, is that people are wanting to be heard. They're wanting to start making their own decisions and not be dictated to. And that is the strongest message I can give you today. Look, I hope this helped you around the globe. I know things are very turbulent at the moment, and there's so much going on in pretty much every country around this pandemic. But we just have to keep finding that little bit of light in the tunnel and keep moving forward, because there's always light in the darkness, and things really do happen for reasons. So whatever's happening to you right now is kind of leading you somewhere, and I really believe that. So stay positive. Look, if you'd like to check out my other videos, I always say I have a lot on there around self-help as well. I've got many prediction ones, but my self-help videos can help you if you're feeling depressed, suicidal, you're just suffering terrible anxiety, which a lot of people are at the moment. I have a lot on attraction and body language too that can teach you a few things as well. I'd love to hear from you. Comment, hit those like buttons. If you'd like to subscribe, I would love that, and I will see you in that next video. Bye.